Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler. It has been quite an eventful weekend. Mostly one event. Not completely unpredictable. It did surprise me. I did think Trump would actually try to slow run this and completely back out of actually striking Iran. But it seems that he committed to this quite early on and, well, deceived and most likely betrayed, or at least his voters, some of his voters, feel betrayed. So there's been some great analysis from multiple people. I highly recommend people go back and watch last Monday's What Are the Odds with Robert Barnes and Richard Barris. Richard Barris on, I believe it was Wednesday also, and Friday have very good episodes. I believe it's Wednesday, Viva Fry. Robert Barnes had on the Duran. I highly recommend watching that as well. Friday, I believe it was Friday that Duran also had on John Mearsheimer. Highly recommend checking that out. Or maybe that was that Saturday? Oh, Jesus, I can't keep all of it straight. But highly recommend all those episodes. Find them, watch them. You'll have a higher understanding of the BS that's going on. Anyways, I'm going to focus on what does this really mean for Canada, other than oil and gas prices going up. That's already starting to happen. It's very slow, and that should just go to show everybody the massive amounts of deflationary pressure and in the context of just economic situation overall, that is a deflationary bust growing in the background. That even the Iranian parliament voting on Sunday and actually following through on starting to block the Strait of Hormuz, cannot send oil straight to, say, 85 or higher and maintain it. Now, admittedly, I have been just looking at WTI crude, a little bit of Brent, but I'm also looking at oil futures, and oil futures are significantly depressionary. Like, some of them are way too far out to like give you any real data, but like if you look at the next couple months of oil futures contracts, starts at August and you go down to, say, just the end of this year, nothing's above 75, right, as of recording this. Like, the August contract is just below 76. And if you look at just, let me refresh here. Yeah, WTI just dropped a couple of cents again, the August contract. So, and then it bounced up. It's having a hard time hitting 76 at the moment. Now, it did immediately spike when oil contracts, when trading opened on Sunday, a couple hours ago for me. It like spiked to 78, almost a $5 gain in like 10 minutes of reporting, because at least the site I used, oilprice.com, is on a 10-minute delay for WTI. So I looked for that first update, and it was significant. But other than the context of oil and gas prices being higher, I first have to talk about Donald Trump and what this has done to his coalition. Okay, the libertarians that voted for Trump, small percentage of the entire electorate, a small percentage of MAGA, they're gone. They are gone. Those libertarians that crossed over, they're gone. Trump does not have their support anymore. The anti-war left that voted for Trump, they're pretty much all gone. And the anti-war right are on the verge of going. If Trump continues being involved in this BS, okay, he's going to lose a significant margin of his coalition that barely won him the states he needed to win, and overall gave him the minor miracle of a what was it, on night 2-point win on election night. I don't know where it's settled at, but like 2 points on the night of the election, he won. That's not going to happen now, which means, okay, midterms, he's, as of right now, he needs every domestic policy that he put forth to go through just to hold on. So midterms are in jeopardy, which means it's the loss of House and the Senate, which if he loses both, there's a high likelihood that he goes to jail and dies in jail. Now, I don't think that'll be a very long time. It's not like, oh, hey, he's going to spend 20, 30 years in jail. No. He's going to get whacked real fast, like in jail, especially if the Dems take over. But that's not even the worst part, okay? This is just, if Trump goes down this and invades Iran, not only does he burn his legacy, but the next 20 years will most likely be Democrat rule in the United States. It's that bad. And it won't be because Republicans can't get votes. It will be because the coalition that Trump built will drop out of the electorate for the most part. So he spent his almost entire amount of political capital that he had garnered with his base on dropping a couple bombs that it is even in doubt how much damage that did to Fordo. I've been listening, and I did a little bit of reading from subject matter experts on what it would actually take to completely wipe out Fordo. And anything short of at least a tactical nuke, that thing is going to be at least operational. And there's the fact that on Thursday and Friday there was movements at Fordo. Massive amounts of trucks and other vehicles were there, and then they were gone. Conclusion, they totally removed what they wanted to remove from the site and protected it. The enriched uranium. Where that is, who knows at this point? Well, other than the Iranians. So, what this means is that Trump is going to struggle with any policy whatsoever, whether it's tariffs, the big beautiful bill, which he needs to get passed because of the tax cuts that are in there. That will destroy him. And basically, like, at this point, he's basically a sitting lame duck president. Like, he has to pull up and then has zero margin of error in everything he does for every minute of the next year and a bit until midterms happen. I think it's next November. And even then, he will probably struggle because the trust is pretty much burnt with him. So, if we look at that in context of Canada, what does that mean? Well, I think they're going to now struggle to get a favorable deal done for the Americans when it comes to the tariff renegotiation. And when I say favorable, I mean favorable in the context of what Trump wanted to do, which was help industrialize America and renegotiate what the globalists had done to America, which is hollow out that industrial sector and ship it all over the world. And I think the tariffs are going to be a massive struggle because we already saw a move in the House and the Senate to remove those tariffs. I think that'll intensify because whatever horse trading Trump did with the neocons, they're going to stab him in the back again. How he did not learn from his first term, he did that. Barris goes into this, I think, on his Friday episode. What was he? For the passage of the bill that would have allowed Trump to completely build his wall. Now, he had to do some special appropriations to actually get that, but he didn't finish it and he didn't get it, passed through law. So to do that, the neocons were like, hey, first we're going to pass this bill. But when that bill was passed, it was like, oh, dude, we really need to help pass this. So come on, help us out. And then we'll do it. And it just never happened because they're always going to stab you in the back. So I think we'll get something closer to NAFTA than what was originally thought. And I think Carney and his team can use to their advantage in the negotiations, if they're smart enough, the fact that Trump went along with the Israelis' killing of the nuclear negotiator who was getting ready to meet with Trump's team on Sunday, that Sunday 2 weeks ago, to negotiate or to continue the negotiations, which were going in the way that Trump wanted, to negotiate that Iran's nuclear program is scaled down in certain ways. I think if Carney understands that, he can use it and be like, well, you're bad faith actors. We can't trust what you're going to say, that you're not going to honor it. I also think if Carney's team is smart, they can also use the fact that because of this, okay, there's potential ramifications of China not getting the oil they specifically need from Iran. Now, there's speculation that the Chinese have built up a massive oil supply over the last couple of years. In case something like this happened, the Chinese also have a train that they could ship oil that the Belt and Road Initiative built from Iran to China. The Iranians are not going to completely close the Strait of Hormuz. They could let Chinese tankers pass, but the problem with that is all ships are insured, and if you say, hey, we're going to the Strait of Hormuz, we have a deal from the Iranians, and you don't have a deal from, say, the Americans, because there's potentially a likely standoff going to happen there in the next couple of days, if not weeks, because of this, because, this very easily could spiral out of control. I have my bias towards peace. I don't think so. I think Trump understands he fucked up. He'll try to find an off-ramp if he can, unless the Israelis do something completely fucking stupid, which originally was going to be what this episode was about, the Israelis overextending, but this is kind of more pressing. I think also there is a redoubling of efforts from the Chinese to continue to, I think they move whatever their new Belt and Road initiatives were, I think they're going to push them over into Canada because of America now, even under Trump, making this openly hostile move to Chinese interests. Like, Iran is a big part of Chinese interests at this point in time. So I think, and considering Trump's going to be preoccupied very much with what's going on in Iran and the Middle East in general, China's going to attempt, maybe, to reshift their focus over to Canada. There's a very good possibility that this happens. And potentially, we get more pipelines built out west the way Danielle Smith wants. It benefits her, so she's in favor. She'll probably be in favor of it. Carney will probably be in favor of it too. One, because Chinese masters, and two, it pacifies the Albertans, or it potentially pacifies the Albertans, benefits the Chinese, because now you've got another point of oil and potentially liquefied natural gas. Possibly, maybe, we'll see how that happens. Shift to China so that they can continue to do whatever the hell they're doing with their oil, because it sure as shit isn't helping their people. That's kind of as it stands right now. Again, if Trump can pull up and pull off some minor miracles in the political realm of finding more political capital and expending it correctly, he can actually get some stuff done. But man, it's going to be real difficult for him. Like, there is a growing segment in his base that is pissed. And the neocons are always going to stab him in the back. What he needed to do is get into office and run them over, and he just didn't do that. So now the negotiating playing field with Canada and the United States is kind of leveled, because also Carney could hold out for a better deal for the Canadian side, say for our auto workers, by saying, well, I'll give you a good pipeline. We'll make it a big, beautiful pipeline. You can have more fucking oil. We'll even cap the price for you. Because, like, certain Albertan oil, at least companies, the way they extract it, now it's not great oil, so it sells cheaper, but it's still profitable at very low global oil prices. So, the margin of profitability, or the point of profitability, is extremely low compared to other oil specifically companies in the world. Like, I don't even think AMCO is as profitable as certain Canadian oil companies are, with just how low their margin is. Like, the oil's just there. So, like, there's a lot of ways now Carney can use Canada's resources, well, specifically Alberta's, to negotiate a better deal, because you could technically try to bring down the price of oil based on speculation that there's going to be a shit ton of oil on the market in the next couple of years. So, like, you can do that to a certain degree. Yeah. June 21st, 2025 may be the final nail in Trump's political coffin. Like, that's how it may turn out. It's so fucking bad for his policy. I would suspect you'll see an attempted increase in globalist influence in Canada, because, again, Trump is going to be preoccupied, at least for the short term. So I would very much suggest, people in Canada understand that and prepare accordingly. What accordingly is, that's up to you. I have no clue how to prepare for that. Um, just it's just so stupid what he did. It's so dumb. Like, just set everything on fire. God, Trump can be some of the dumbest. Is up there with some of the dumbest motherfuckers right now. What else would most likely happen to Canada? I mean, like, there's so many ways you could go, and I don't think that happens. Although, I will mention this. I think those mostly peaceful protests that have happened over the last couple of years, they shift in direction from Palestinians and Gazans to the Iranians. Possibly, you could possibly see this. But also because Canada took in so many refugees, and this is going to go for Europe as well, and America, because border security has been so lax for so long, there is a chance of terror-related incidences in these countries. Iran has, I think, already stated they're contemplating this. So I would, you know, I would take that into consideration when you're doing stuff out and about. Although they probably, like, it's not going to be like, oh, hey, there's this concert. Maybe don't go. I don't think that. It'll be very much it'll be more strategic than that. In all likelihood, it wouldn't be, death counts or whatever. I think this also speeds up the efforts to rearm parts of NATO. I would suspect a push for more defense spending in certain ways. Potentially, okay, you could see the MIC build factories in Canada. You could potentially see, this depends on assessments, that the at least Western MIC starts looking at countries who have platinum, palladium, silver, copper, untapped resources, in general, and says you have to mine these. We need these because we're obviously going to have to go to war not only with Russia but Iran and China. Like, that calculus could start to happen. I don't know if there's anybody in charge that thinks of supply lines that far back. So that's interesting. I would also speculate on that. I mean, I would presume, again, because of oil prices spiking a little bit, there could be a spike in prices, at least short term. I think now the Fed has their go ahead to cut. I think the BOC goes back to its cutting. Its pausing will most likely be over. Shit, what else? There's so many things. The Canadian dollar looks to be, again, going down in price because of this, and at least the trade between the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. It's based more on the strengthening of the American dollar than anything to do with the Canadian dollar. I still think there's probably a continuation of selling long on the Treasury curve and then paying off in local debt. So, like, TD will probably do the same thing. I think there's a continuation of the trend or semi-trend. It's been bouncing around of M2. I think it's gross, but I think it's also M2 contraction in Canada, which very much not a good sign for a debt-based monetary system. Never a good thing to have. God, what else? Like, you could really see this. You could see, like if this spirals out of control, right? And by out of control, I mean, let's say there's another confrontation of some kind, right? I don't know what it would be, whether it's at the Strait of Hormuz or something like that, okay? Another American-backed missile strike, okay? The calculus could change to such a degree that, again, the MIC starts building factories and starts pushing more demand and gets an upper hand in the negotiations. The backroom power struggle going on between all the power factions in the world, and they get what they want, which is more fucking factories. And to feed those factories, they get more fucking minerals mined. And, like, that would be long term because, again, mines take fucking forever to hit pay dirt. But if the calculus is going, hey, the trajectory is 10, 15 years, we're ending up in war with these countries, and we want that, yeah, you have to start strategic planning now. There are bits of people in the MIC that understand that. I know that for a fact, but in the halls of power, where the decisions are actually made, if they can buy that, I don't know. But I think, Canada came out with its whole, we're totally going to ban sales of the gasoline engine by this, what is it, 2035 or 2036? I think that's going to get fucking rolled back. That is a fucking pipe dream at best. Okay? Like, the gasoline, the combustion engine in general, not just the gasoline engine, but the combustion engine is just so freaking awesome compared to every other propulsion system there is. Like, it just kicks ass. Especially for freezing cold. I mean, there's also the fact that you can't sell enough of those damn cars. Like, and trust me when I say the auto unions in specifically Ontario hold a whole fuck ton of sway when it comes to government policy surrounding the auto industry. There is a reason why Toyota, all right, where I am, right, both Toyota plants consistently get away with union busting when they basically break every fucking union busting law in Canada. There is a reason why they get away with it. I know I just said unions have a lot of sway, but like Toyota is such a large part of Southern Ontario's manufacturing in general. Like, they support a lot of domestic manufacturing and a lot of trade with the United States, or it's back and forth. Like, I remember doing long haul truck, well, not even that long haul trucks, trucking with my grandpa as it'd be over 15 years now, maybe even 20. Doing runs for Toyota, right? Bringing parts from, I think, Woodstock to Springfield, Ohio, and then back. And like, that was, his company had that contract, and it was just like constantly doing that. Like, there were dozens and dozens, or at least they had part of the contract, because like, it was so much shit they were moving that needed to be done. I think it was for coding they would go down to the States. I think that was that you'd ship the parts down to the States, get them coded, bring them back. Or like some, I know they were dipping them in some type of chemical. I don't know. Yeah. So I would suspect, okay, that the status quo we had before Donald Trump is very much implemented when it comes to trade at this point in time. With, Donald Trump, if you look at Donald Trump as the Eye of Sauron, he's kind of completely looking at Iran. So Mark Carney can be the pesky little hobbitses. And, but it's hard to tell. I think Trump has put himself in such a worse negotiating position because of all this shit. Canada gets a slight edge now. Canada might come out really good from this. Like, I don't think, all right, the Iranian war is going to be so unpopular with the majority power structure in the globalist hierarchy because Israel has tainted themselves to such a large degree. All right? And helping Israel at right now is very much toxic amongst that hierarchy. It always really has been, but now it's, you can look at a growing number of people, even amongst that are traditionally supporters of Israel, this dissent of, no, Israel's bad, we fuck this, we're not dealing with Israel. I don't think, like, if America goes worst case scenario, boots on the ground, okay? I don't think anybody backs them up. I think it's America's war. Because the IDF sure as fuck isn't going in there. That is way too much overextension for them. It'll be an American ground war. Very much like Iraq. Very much like Afghanistan. Now, the Israeli power structure and, say, the UK power structure, and maybe even the Canadian power structure, the German power structure as well, will egg the fuck out of Donald Trump to go in there. Don't kid. That they will fucking do that. Especially the British. If they can then get them to do that, the British can then say, hey, look, you've got all these really, really, like the U.S. still has a whole fuck ton of Humvees, right? And they'll need, like, this will be full war to a large degree. This will not be like Afghanistan. This will not be like Iraq. Iran has a legitimate military and has extensive knowledge of how to use drones. It will be more of a traditional style war. It'll be asymmetrical war, but like you're dealing with an actual military structure behind the end. So specifically the British are the ones who make the really, really cool, what do they call them? They're not, I guess they are armored personnel carriers. Okay? Like the ones that are mine resistant, IED resistant. The guys who have those contracts are in England. So that benefits them totally. It also benefits possibly the French because of FN. The United States still has a contract for the Mini-Me. The Germans... Is it the Germans that make the Carl Gustaf? There's like one or two types of... How would you say that? Anti-vehicle weaponry, I guess, that the Germans specifically make. And as they're trying to, you know, do their stimulus package that is pretending to be a defense stimulus package, you could see that. Like, so there's going to be tremendous pressure for Trump to ramp up his what is going to increasingly become his war if he gets more involved. So, yeah. There's some good outcomes from Canada from more war, but it's a bad fucking scenario. I don't think the CAF goes in. Nope. Nuh-uh. Not when Canada has such close ties with our leadership to the Chinese leadership. Even though Carney has also close ties to Trump, I really don't think we get involved. Other than maybe, you know, hey, we'll sell you guns and we'll make your guns. We'll sell you guns. We'll build your shit. Hell, we'll build the Toyota Technicals that you're going to blow the fuck up. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen again. Although right now, what is it? The Cambridge Toyota plant that builds Lexuses and RAV4s. I don't think you can turn a RAV4 into a technical. I would love to turn a Lexus into a technical. That'd be just the most baller technical ever. I'll ride around in air-conditioned with superior firepower on board. Dude, I kick ass. Now, you'd only have one shot. Like, you'd always be a glass cannon build, but, you know, whatever. Anyways, that's the video for today. You can probably maybe suspect that there'll probably be more about this bullshit, because it's kind of the big deal that's going on. I'll probably do more focusing on markets at some point when more data strolls out. Possibly towards the end of the week, possibly next week, and, you know, whatever the hell shows up this week in Canadian news or flies under the radar that I catch. So, that's the video for today. Hope you all have a good day, and I really fucking pray and hope this does not get out of control and that someone can pull up on the fucking stick so we don't crash. See you in the next video.